Hey guys, Joe Miles here with ASIO Gear. We're going to do the answers to the questions we had. We're in the ASIO International headquarters today. I'm standing behind my very sophisticated desk, so bear with us. Here we go. First question comes from Larry, and the question is, Joe, I tried to order a backpack last year but was hesitant due to being out of town and delivery taking place while I was gone. Any ideas when they will be available again? Yes, Larry, our backpacks will be in our warehouse by September 15th. It is August 17th, I believe, today, and they are on pre-order right now. So you can go ahead and pre-order the pack, and as soon as they get here, middle of September, we will be shipping them out. So that's the update on the backpacks. All right, on to question number 2 comes from Tony. As a lifelong hunter from a kid with an uncle and cousins to now, it seemed to always be about chance or drive hunting, either with other hunters or dogs. I have come to really enjoy hunting alone and getting into spots that no one else can or wants to get to. Would you take the time to talk about weather, moon phases, and my most interested topic, thermals and wind? As I am trying to always evolve and strive to be a better hunter, I believe these are some of the most important parts of the hunt that aren't talked about enough. I agree with you, Tony. Those are really important topics, and there is a ton to unpack here. We've got a lot of information on our Mission Whitetail podcast. If you go to that podcast, you can watch them on YouTube or Spotify or any of the major podcast platforms. It's the Mission Whitetail podcast. We unpack a ton of that there on the first 6 episodes. But just briefly, if we talk about weather, personally I like a really high pressure day, sunny. Those tend to be the best days for me. We talk about moon phases. I don't really pay attention to the moon phases as much as I do the moon position. Deer Hunter's Moon Guide is a great app that you can download. It tells you the red moon days, which are basically when the moon is completely overhead or completely underfoot, and that gravitational pull has a pull on deer to get up and feed, and I have really followed that over the years and like it and recommend it. So Deer Hunter's Moon Guide, I would go with that. Thermals and wind, again, that's a 2-hour conversation, but just the basics with thermals is in the mornings when things start to warm up, the thermals rise. In the evenings when the things start to cool off, the thermals drop. So in the evenings you got to be really careful because those thermals can actually overpower the wind, especially if you're hunting like on a ridge. Those thermals are going to dump down in that bottom. So you got to be careful there. In the mornings with the thermals rising, a lot of times you can be completely bulletproof, and it doesn't matter what wind direction you have. If those thermals are really rising, you can get away with murder. So cold mornings when thermals start to rise can be deadly and get you into spots that you wouldn't normally hunt. Wind direction, everybody wants to have the wind in their face, and that is a simple approach, but you really got to think about where the deer is coming from and where he's going on your particular setup. And then there's a saying that's been around a long time that's gotten real popular lately: give him a wind that's good for him. It's just good for him, and it's still good for you. So it's like a quartering wind where he can't smell you, but he feels safe walking on it. So that's something to look into. And again, we cover that in the podcast and actually have some video breakdowns on our YouTube channel, the Joe Miles Hunting YouTube channel, talking about that very specific thing. All right, moving on. This comes from Randy. He says, first off, love my ASIO gear. Scent control sprays, do you use them? Do you spray down before you go into the woods? Are you spraying in the stand? Personal favorite brands. All right, so yes, I do use some scent-free products, and I will spray some boots sometimes. And I like the Phase system from the Deer Society. The Illusion Systems, it's called the Phase. I use their detergent, their shower stuff, and some of their sprays. So I do believe it can help. I do not think it can hurt you in any way. There is a debate whether it works or not, but I don't think it can hurt you in any way. I think it can only help. Therefore, I say use it if you can afford to use it. Tick repellents. Do you spray your clothes with anything like DEET? And my answer to that is yes. I don't want ticks all over me. Mosquitoes are terrible. I always have a little bottle of DEET with me, and I'll spray my shoulders, for mosquitoes, or around my ears with our ASIO hood. You don't really need that because you can pull the hood up and it keeps them off your face. But yeah, man, if you've got a really infested tick area, you don't want to get Lyme's disease or anything like that. So I will definitely spray. There's never been a deer killed by DEET or killed by a mosquito spray. They're scared of human odor. They don't get a lot of exposure to scent, to any kind of repellent. And there's never been a bottle of DEET that killed a deer. So I don't coat myself in it, but if it's a must to be able to, especially in our swamps here in South Carolina, it can be unbearable, the mosquitoes. You couldn't hunt. So yes, I will use some spray. All right, next, do you think you can over-prepare in regards to archery practice, leading to getting into your head and causing the yips like you see in pro golfers and baseball players? I think you definitely can develop target panic. That's something that a lot of guys that shoot a lot go through, but you've got to come out the other side of that. And I do not think you can over-prepare. You can never be too accurate. You can never be too comfortable with your bow. And I try and shoot every single day if I can. And if you get into a stage of target panic, there's tons of videos out there. Look up a guy named Andy May. He had it really, really bad and worked all the way through it, and he is an unbelievable archer and a big buck killer, and he went through exactly what you're talking about. But no, I do not think you can over-prepare. Let's see. The final question comes in from John, and I got two more. This is Brad. Hi, Joe. Was wondering what type of release do you use, makes and models, which ones you recommend? So I recommend the handheld thumb button release, because I can hook it onto my D-loop. I got really screwed up one year with the index finger release, had a big buck coming in right at daylight, and was almost in a panic I couldn't see my D-loop very well, and I was trying to get it hooked on and I couldn't. And ever since that day, I've used the thumb button and just put it on the D-loop and let it hang right there. I also tend to be much more accurate, being able to squeeze instead of pulling it like you're pulling a trigger. I think that can develop target panic. Guys that get target panic with a thumb release, you can switch back to an index finger release for a while and get that out of your head. But thumb release, the make, really like the Carter releases, and the one that we use, Kevin and I both, is the 3-finger first choice. That's the name of it. All right, final question. Hi, Joe. I was wondering how often you practice shooting and how often you would recommend for a novice. If you're a novice, you can't shoot enough arrows. You need to be out there shooting every day. Start on flat ground, get everything dialed with your form, and then start getting elevated. And then I would shoot, once you get really, really comfortable, I try and shoot at least 8 to 10 arrows every single day at deer type targets from an elevated position. We're lucky here at ASIO, we've got a tower in the back with targets, but man, you can shoot out of a second-story window, off the roof of your house. If you don't fall, you can hang a stand in your backyard. It takes more work, but it will pay off big dividends. Guys, thank y'all so much for the questions. We'll do this again soon. Any other questions, send them in. We're happy to help any way we can. Good luck this season. Thank y'all so much.